हरिः ओम् नमः सर्वेभ्यः। कृदन्तप्रकरणस्य अद्य शतोत्तरः चतुस्त्रिंशः पाठः। अद्यतनवर्गे क्त्वाणमुल् तथा खमुय् प्रत्ययानाम् अध्ययनं करिष्यामः। येनाक्षरसमाम्नायमधिगम्य महेश्वरात् कृत्स्नं व्याकरणं प्रोक्तं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः। वाक्यकारं वररुचिं भाष्यकारं पतञ्जलिं पाणिनिं सूत्रकारं च प्रणतोऽस्मि मुनित्रयं नमस्कृत्य तदुक्तिः परिभाव्य च वैयाकरणसिद्धान्तकौमुदीयं विरच्यते। ह्यस्तनवर्गे अस्माभिः जस्ट् प्रारम्भिकाः क्तिच् क्तणिनि एते सर्वे प्रत्ययाः दृष्टाः। क्त्वा प्रत्ययः अलङ्खल्वोः प्रतिषेधयोः प्राचां त्वा उदीचां माङ्गो व्यतिहारे परावरयोगे च समानकर्तृकयोः पूर्वकाले इत्येतैः सूत्रैः अधीतः। अद्य अग्रे गच्छामः। अद्य तादृशम् अस्माभिः केवलं 4 एव सूत्राणि स्वीक्रियन्ते। अग्रे अत्रैव क्रमेण सन्ति आभीक्ष्ण्येण मुल् च. So this is the first time we are coming across the namul pratyaya. We'll talk about the namul pratyaya, namul pratyayस्य प्रक्रियायाः विषये किञ्चित् वदामः। न यद्यनाकाङ्क्षे इति आभीक्ष्ण्येन मुल् च इत्यनेन उक्तस्य नमुल् प्रत्ययस्य तथा च पूर्वम् अपि उक्तस्य क्त्वा प्रत्ययस्य निषेधः उक्तः अस्ति. So न, so what that निषेध is about for the क्त्वा and the namul pratyay, we'll talk about it. विभाषा अग्रे प्रथम पूर्वेषु अत्र विकल्पः उक्तः अस्ति. So 3 consecutive sutras. One is the vidhana, second is the nishedha, third is the vaikalpikam vidhanam. And then there is this slightly different pratyaya called khamui pratyaya that is given only for one verb kru, only for one particular context. So these are the 4 pratyayas that we will talk in today's class. 4 sutras, very specific contexts across all these 4 sutras. So atra sarvatra vishishte sandarbhe eva tva tatha namul pratyayah bhavati. So understanding that context with proper examples and background itself will take some time. And then we'll study some sutras specific to the prakriya of the namul pratyaya. इति सर्वम् अद्यतनवर्गस्य अस्माकं प्रपञ्चः अस्ति. तत्र प्रारभामहे. As I mentioned, it's primarily about क्त्वा and namul. So किञ्चित् पुनरावर्तनं कृत्वा क्त्वा इति प्रत्ययः ककारः इत्संज्ञकः त्वा इति अवशिष्यते. ककारस्य प्रयोजनं कित् कार्यम् इति. क्त्वा प्रत्ययान्त सर्वे शब्दाः अव्ययसंज्ञकाः भवन्ति. क्त्वा तोसुन् कसुनः इति सूत्रम्. So क्त्वा तोसुन् and kasun, 3 words. अव्ययान्त कृदन्ताः सर्वे भावे एव प्रयुज्यन्ते. तत्र भाष्यविधानमस्ति अव्ययकृतो भावे इति सर्वं पूर्वं बहुवारम् अधीतम्. अव्ययकृतो भावे इति भाष्यवचनात् अव्ययसंज्ञकाः कृदन्ताः भावे प्रयुज्यन्ते. त्वा प्रत्ययन्त शब्दानां प्रयोगे कर्तृकर्मणोः कृति इत्यनेन कर्मपदस्य षष्ठी विभक्ति भवति. कर्तृपदस्य षष्ठी विभक्ति प्राप्नोति, परन्तु तत्सर्वं न लोकाव्यनिष्ठा खलर्थतुनाम् इत्यनेन निषिध्यते. अतः कर्मपदस्य द्वितीया विभक्ति एव भवति. कृष्णं दृष्ट्वा गच्छति इति अत्र आशयः. So understand this point. One, I think this was not stressed enough in the previous classes. Ramaha Krishnam Drishtva Gacchati. इत्यस्मिन् अर्थे रामः इति शब्दस्य प्रथमा किमर्थम् अस्ति इति चेत् अस्य शब्दस्य गच्छति इत्यनेन सह अन्वयः. I mean दर्शनक्रियायाः कर्तापि रामः एव, गमनक्रियायाः कर्तापि रामः एव. In fact, that is a prerequisite. We say समानकर्तृकयोः पूर्वकाले. So उभयोः क्रियापदयोः कर्ता रामः इत्येव अस्ति. परन्तु तत्र प्रधानक्रिया कीदृशी अस्ति, प्रधानक्रिया का अस्ति इति वदामश्चेत् गमनक्रिया प्रधानक्रिया अस्ति, दर्शन क्रिया पूर्वकालिक क्रिया अस्ति. And therefore karta will go in sync, in resonance with the gamana kriya. And therefore ramaha, the prathama over here, has nothing to do with the ktva pratyaya or nothing to do with naloka venishtha khalarthratunam. It is simply a prathama vibhakti because it is going in the resonance with gacchati. सो तत्र गच्छति इति इत्यनेनैव कर्ता निर्दिश्यते. अतः प्रातिपदिकार्थलिङ्गपरिमाणवचनमात्रे प्रथमा इत्यनेन अत्र प्रथमा विभक्तिः भवति. On the other hand, the word Krishna has nothing to do with gacchati. The gamana kriya has no relationship with Krishna. The only relationship of Krishna is with the darshana kriya, and therefore atra Krishnam drishtva ityatra prarambhe Krishnasya drishtva iti षष्ठी विभक्तिः तत्र प्राप्नोति परन्तु तस्याः इदानीं न लोकाव्यय निष्ठा खलर्थतॄणाम् इति निषेधः क्रियते अतः अत्र कृष्णं दृष्ट्वा इति द्वितीया विभक्तिः भवति. So that was the point that everybody needs to understand. अग्रे गच्छामः. अद्यतनवर्गे अस्माभिः पठिष्यमाणः अपरः प्रत्ययः णमुल् इति. णमुल्, last pratyaya of our class that we are going to study. णमुल् प्रत्यये, there is khamui also by the way. So णमुल् प्रत्यये नकार लकारयोः इत्संज्ञा लोपः amma iti avashishyate. So initial n goes away, l goes away, ukar uchcharanartha asti tasyapi lopah bhavati, amma iti avashishyate. Nakar nitkaryartha vruddhi and so on, yugagama, lakar is for swarartha. Namul ityasya amma iti yad avashishyate tasyapi avyaya samnya, tasya ityukte am pratyanta shabdanam api avyaya samnya. So krunme jantaha, consecutive sutras are there. If you see in the previous slide, this is the next sutram, kva tosun kasunaha tasmat purvam asti krunme jantaha. So krunme jantaha kva tosun kasunaha avyaya bhavascha. So this is the entire sequence of sutras that give avyaya bhava. Swarad nipata bhavyayam tadhita shastra vibhakti krunme jantaha kva tosun kasunaha avyaya bhavascha. 5 sutras in Ashtadhyayi in sequence give avyaya samnya. This is the third of them, krunme jantaha. On the previous slide, that was fourth of them, tvato sunkasunha. So krut pratyayah me jantaha makarantaha asti chet avyaya samnyakah bhavati. So amma iti avyaya samnyakah. We have also seen this amaiva avyaye. Now that time also we talked about this aspect in detail. Avyaya kruto bhave iti bhavasya vidhanam bhavati and so on. णमुल् प्रत्ययान्त प्रयोगानां विषये अपि तत्र षष्ठी विभक्तेः निषेधः. किमर्थं निषेधः इति चेत् अत्रापि अव्ययम् अस्ति एव. सो सेम सूत्रम. सो न लोकाव्यय निष्ठा खलर्थतॄणाम् इत्यत्र अव्यय शब्दः अस्ति. अतः सर्वत्र अव्ययस्य प्रयोगः भवति चेत् षष्ठी निषिध्यते, द्वितीया भवति. अतः रामः क्षीरं पायं पायं व्रजति. He drinks milk again and again and goes. Ramah kshiram payam payam vrajati iti prayogah bhavati. Sarvaihi prayah prayoga jnayate. Namul pratyasya prayogah yatra yatra kriyate tatra tatra dvirvachanam tatra tatra dvitvam tatra tatra dve bhavatah. So smaram smaram. So for example, the Mangalacharanam of Praudha Manorama. Smaram smaram guror giraha, dhyayam dhyayam guror giraha is, I mean, let's actually see. I think it's there right on the screen, so I can just show. Smaram smaram parabrahma dhyayam dhyayam guror giraha. I think if I'm not mistaken, let's actually see on the screen, assuming it loads. Give me 1 minute. Yeah. So look at this. Dhyayam dhyayam param brahma, smaram smaram guror giraha. So in both these cases, this dhyayam dhyayam or this smaram smaram, this is the namul pratyaya. Tatra dvirvachanam bhavati, tatra dve bhavataha. We will see all that in today's class in upcoming slides. There are a few questions over here. Let me take them. So this is actually a nice question. Why does Acharya say namul and why doesn't Acharya say namal? So interesting question. I cannot think of any particular answer right now because this ukara is definitely not itsamnyaka. It is for ucharanartha. So why does he not say namal? Why does he say namul? I think it's a personal choice. I mean, by saying namal instead of namul, you are not saving on any characters. So it is not like a question of alpaktaratvam. Here it is ma plus u, whereas in other version it will be ma plus a. So the number of swaras, number of characters eventually is going to be same. So why do you use namal and not, why do you use namul and not namal, namil, namel and so on? Probably at after one point it becomes just the personal choice of Acharya. Same in Khamui also. It's a personal choice. Tumun also. It's just one choice. He sticks to one letter and just keeps on using it. So there is a question about krunmejantaha. So all makaranta words are krudantas only. It is the question. So that is not necessary. I mean, basically it says makarantam krudantam. Makaranta tadhitanta shabdah asti. No chet ramam iti api makarantam asti. So not all makaranta words are avyayas. Makarantam krudantam avyayam asti. Ityasya nirdeshartham atra krut yaha mantaha iti nirdeshah kriyate. So I don't know if I repeated the question. The question was that why does he say krut over here? Are there any other non-krudanta makaranta entities? So subantas can be makaranta, tingantas can be makaranta, apatham and so on. These are not to be included. Only the krudanta that are makaranta are to be included. Okay, agre gacchamaha. So the first sutram, as I mentioned, the sutras are kind of convoluted in today's class. Each sutram, there's so many tabs open. I actually need all of them, but let's see if where we have this Krut Sutrani. So in yesterday's class, we completed Samana Kartrukayoho Purvakale. Adya Agre Gacchamaha Atra Prathamam Sutram Abhikshnenamulcha. Kind of actually simple sutram. The complications arise from the next sutram onwards. So Abhikshnenamulcha, Abhikshnyam ityukte paunaf punyam, repetition. Doing the same thing again and again. That's what we saw in the Mangalacharanam of the Praudhamanovarama also. Dhyayam Dhyayam, repeated dhyanam is done, or smaram smaram, repeated memorization, repeated recollection is done. So yada ekam kriyam punah punah krutva tadanantaram anya kriya kriyate tatra पूर्वकालिक क्रियायाः निर्देशार्थं क्त्वा तथा णमुल द्वावपि प्रत्ययो भवतः. सो आभीक्ष्ण्ये णमुल च चकारेण क्त्वा इत्यस्य अपि अनुवृत्तिः भवति. आभीक्ष्ण्येण मुल्च. So if you are just doing one kriya and then you are doing another kriya, you use a ktva pratyay. Pathitva gacchati, bhuktva pathati. But if you want to indicate that the first kriya is repeated, then you use the ktva or namul. That is the context of the current sutra. Abhikshanyam is repetition, abhikshanyam is paunaf punyam, abhikshanyena mulcha iti atra sutram asti. Now when the paunaf punyam happens, when the repetition happens, there is a sutram in Ashtadhyayi. Ironically, there is also a Vartikam in Ashtadhyayi that talks about the same thing. But let's talk about the sutram. Nityaveepsayoho iti Ashtamadhyayase Prathamapade sutram asti Pashyamaha. So Nityaveepsayoho iti sutram asti. No chet in 8.1.12 prakare gunavachanasya there is another vartika abhikshanye dve bhavatah. So this is actually more explicit. This vartikam or the sutram 8.1.4 nitya vipsayoho anena sutrena no chet vartikena abhikshnyam yatra vidyate tatra dvitvam bhavati. द्वित्वं भवति इत्युक्ते लिट् लकारे यादृशं द्वित्वं भवति, नो चेत् तत्र सन्नन्त प्रक्रियायां यादृशं द्वित्वं भवति, द्वित्वे कृते द्वित्व कार्यं भवति, तादृशं किमपि द्वित्वं न भवति. It is a simple repetition. So from one angle it is the same dvitva, but when you do dvitva in lit lakara and other stuff like san prakriya, yang prakriya, there is always an abhyasa karya happening after that. None of that is happening over here. It is a completely made padam that is being replicated. So somebody is asking, after the replication is done, after the dvitvam is done, are these two padas or are these one padas? They are still two padas. It's just one pada that is copied and paste, or that is doubled and put over there in place of that one pada. That is all that happens. So nitya vipsayoho iti sutrena paunah punyasya nirdeshatham prayuktah shabdah dvivaram ucharyate. So smrutva smrutva namati. So somebody is asking actually very good questions. When you do the repetition smrutva smrutva, should they be continuous or can you say smrutva namati smrutva? So no, they have to be continuous because it is a dvitvam and it happens right after the pada, right after the sentence is created. So smrutva smrutva namati, no chet smaram smaram namati ityeva vaktavyam. Now when you do the dvitvam, the first of the two gets an abhyas samnya is what we have learned in the case of Dvitva Prakaranam. Now, what happens is that now this is little bit digression, but I'll talk about this. The concept of Dvitva is taught at multiple places in Ashtadhyayi. At first, you come across the concept of Dvitva as soon as Tadhita Prakaranam ends. So Tadhita Adhikara ends at 5.4, and if you go to 6.1.1, the first sutram Ekacho Dve Prathamasya talks about one kind of Dvitvam. This Ekacho Dve Prathamasya is the Dvitvam that you do in the lit lakara or in the san pratyaya, young pratyaya, and so on. This is actually an adhikara. So look at this. This is adhikara, and in this adhikara, you can see on the left side of the screen, liti dvitvam bhavati, san pratyay pare dvitvam bhavati, yang pratyay pare dvitvam bhavati, shlu pratyay pare dvitvam bhavati, chang pratyay pare dvitvam bhavati. This is lung lakara. Chang means. So various situations are given where the dvitva happens. In this dvitva section, the term abhyas is given to the first of the two. So you can see the sutram right over here, purvaha abhyasaha. So asmin dvitva prakarane yad dvitvam bhavati. Look at the sutrartha. Asmin dvitva prakarane yad dvitvam bhavati. Tasya purvaha yaha tasya abhyasa samnya bhavati. So dvitva happens at multiple places in Ashtadhyayi. Three different places dvitva happens at Ashtadhyayi. One place, the first place here in 6.1, that is the dvitva given by Ekacho Dve Prathamasya, which is the Dvitva for lit and young and sun and all that. And it is that Dvitva where the term Abhyasa is given on the first entity. When the Dvitva happens, first of them becomes Abhyasa, and then the further Abhyasa Karya happens. The current Dvitva that we are talking is 8.1.1. This is different. The other one was 6.1.1. This is 8.1.1. Sarvasya Dve. This is a different Dvitvadhikara. Sarvasya Dve is a separate Dvitvadhikara. In this Dvitvam, there is no value in giving the Abhyasa Samnya. We do not give Abhyasa Samnya over here. So Sarvasya iti cha Dve iti cha etat adhikrutyam. This is in 8.1.1. इत उत्तरं यद् वक्ष्यामः पदस्य इत्यतः प्राक् सर्वस्य द्वे भवति इति वक्तव्यम्. And he gives right the same example that we talked. नित्यवीप्सयोः iti tatra dvitvam bhavati is one example. So if you actually go to the Nityavipsayoho Sutram that we are discussing right now, he gives examples for Nityata and Vipsa. We'll not go in the details of what is Nityata, what is Vipsa and so on, but simple example. If Devadatta is continuously cooking, punaha punaha pachati, so definitely you can use the young pratyaya and you say papachate, that is acceptable. But at the same time, you can just say Devadattaha pachati pachati. That kind of dvitva is the dvitva happening for the repetition, for the nityatva. So he says pachati pachati. So when the kriya undergoes the dvitva, the word is, the concept is indicated by nitya. When a dravya undergoes a dvitva, the concept is indicated by vipsa. We'll not go in those particular details right now, but he says over here, keshu nityata, tingshu nityata, avyaya krutsu nityata. So when the repetition is for the krudantas like smrutva, smrutva, or tingantas, pachati, pachati, in that case, that kind of dvitva happens, and this dvitvam is given by nitya vipsayoho. It comes in a separate adhikara sarvasya dve, which comes at 8.1.1. This is the second dvitvam. And then there is a third dvitvam all the way in at the end of 8.4, achorahabhyam dve and anachicha, which all of you have studied in the introductory classes of your Kaumudi or Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi, where an optional dvitva happens. So if there are continuous vyanjanas occurring one after the another, the optional dvitva that happens in case of achorahabhyam dve and anachicha is the Nitya, is the third dvitvam given all the way at the end of Ashtadhyayi. So these are the three primary areas where the dvitva is given in the Ashtadhyayi. The abhyasa and abhyasa karya and all that is restricted to the first of those dvitvam of 6.1.1. What we are talking right now is the second of those dvitvas of 8.1.1, that entire adhikara of some 15-16 sutras. So nitya vipsayoho iti sutrena पौनः पुण्यस्य निर्देशार्थं प्रयुक्तः शब्दः द्विवारम् उच्चार्यते. So पुनः पुनः नमति तस्य स्थाने किं वदामः? स्मृत्वा स्मृत्वा नमति. Continuously remembers the guru god and does the pranama. स्मारं स्मारं नमति. So णमुल प्रत्यय अस्ति, णित् अस्ति, वृद्धि भवति, स्मृ becomes स्मार, स्मारं स्मारं नमति. Understand this, smaram is not dvitiya ekavachanam, or it is not an apumsakalinga word. Namul pratyaya iti asti tatra. So smru plus becomes a smaram. It is like avyaya. Just like pathitum is an avyaya, similarly smaram is avyaya. Smaram smaram namati, smrutva smrutva namati iti atra uchyate. Now there is a question over here that can smaram smaram namati loosely translate to the present continuous tense in English? Like he is going and then he will go, or he is remembering and then he will go. So the answer is no. There is no present continuous tense in Sanskrit. There is only one present tense, lat lakara. So Ramaha gacchati, Ramaha gacchan asti, everything is the same. That has nothing to do with smaram smaram, no, nothing related with smaram smaram namati. Smaram smaram namati only means he continuously remembers and goes. Smaram smaram anamat, smaram smaram namseti, all lakaras are acceptable. So this should not be confused with specific usage of shatru pratyaya or the lat lakara. Now there is a question over here. Why is this sutra not rephrased as Namul Va? Because it is about Abhikshaniya. So Abhikshaniya Namul Cha. And Abhikshaniya Namul Cha ittenena chakarena purva sutra tva iti anuvartate. And therefore you tva and Namul become Abhikshaniya. So if the question is like, can you have Abhikshaniya Namul Va? Like Vikalpena Namul Bhavati Pakshe Purvasmat Srutat tva iti anuvartate. Prayah bhavitum arhati. So why does he bring cha? Primarily because cha is to be taken as an anuvritti. So abhikshne namul cha iti sutram. Abhikshne is definitely useful. Namul is definitely useful. The question was, can we replace cha by va? Possibly. I can't think of any particular. I mean, you can always justify one way or the other because we have seen these kind of sutras in Ashtadhyayi so many times. Anyway, there is one point that I want to discuss over here. So punah punah namati tat punah punah smarati tatah namati. This is the vritti. Look at this, understand this point carefully. Punah punah smarati tatah namati. This is the kind of vritti you should write. If you just take one small fragment of it, say punah punah smarati, you can definitely use the dvitva on that fragment and say smarati smarati. So as we saw on that Nitya Vipsayoho Sutram, there is an example over here, Pachati Pachati. So Pachati Pachati means what? Repeatedly cooks. In the same way, Smarati Smarati means repeatedly memorizes or repeatedly remembers. But when you are trying to write the vritti for this Sutram, you cannot say Smarati Smarati Tatah Namati. This is not an acceptable construct. The only acceptable construct is punaha punaha smarati tataha namati. Understand this once again. Standalone smarati smarati is okay. It means the same as punaha punaha smarati. But when it comes to application of this particular namul pratyaya or ktva pratyaya given by abhikshune namulcha, you cannot write smarati smarati tataha namati as a vritti. You must write it as punah punah namati punah punah smarati tataha namati. Why you cannot write that? Let's park that thought for now. 3 sutras later, there is an explicit mention in one of the upcoming sutras. So then one of the upcoming sutras, tatra etadrishi vritti na lekhanya iti agre uktam asti, tasmin samaye tasmin vishaye agre chintanam kurmaha. So Vyakhyanam Pashamaha. Samana Kartrukayoho Purvakale. So all that context is same. There are 2 kriyas done by the same person. If the kriya is to be done only once, you use a ktva pratyaya. If it is to be used multiple times, you use namul pratyaya or ktva pratyaya and then do the dvitva. So Samana Kartrukayoho Purvakale ityeva abhikshunyam paunaf punyam prakrutyartha visheshanam cha etat. So these kind of statements are important because this is saptami, right? And one might obviously put a question, is this an upapada? So this is not an upapada, prakrutyartha visheshanam etat. So this is indication of the meaning of the pratyaya, repetition. Abhikshna vishishte arthe vartamana dhatoho namul pratyaya bhavati chakarena tva iti anuvartate. द्विर्वचन सहितौ क्त्वाणमुलौ आभिक्षुण्यं द्योतयतः न केवलौ. If you just say smaram, it does not indicate abhikshunyam, it does not indicate paunafpunyam, it does not indicate repetition. I'm explicitly mentioning this because understand this point. Namul pratyaya is used in multiple different contexts. If you look at the sutra, the sheet number 12, you see namul, 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 namul. For all 3-4 classes going ahead, it's all going to be, completely namul pratyaya discussion. But in those situations, you don't need to do the dvitvam. So the rule is not like that namul bhavati ched dvitvam karanyam. Tadrishah niyamah nasti. नमुल प्रत्ययः प्रायः दशसु भिन्नेषु सन्दर्भेषु भवति. तत्र आभिक्षणे यदा नमुल प्रत्ययः भवति तदा द्वित्वं करणीयम्. So द्वित्वम is not tied to namul pratyaya. Dvitvam is tied to the concept of abhikshanyam, concept of repetition. Abhikshanyam means repetition, paunaf punyam. That's exactly what is written over here. Dvirvachana sahita uktvanamolo abhikshanyam dodyotayatah न केवलौ. आभीक्षणीये द्वे भवतः. So this is a vartikam in 8.1.12. आभीक्षणीये द्वे भवतः इति उपसंख्यानात् तत्र द्विर्वचनं. भोजं भोजं व्रजति, भुक्त्वा भुक्त्वा व्रजति. So eats and goes, again eats again and goes. Payam payam vrajati, drinks again and goes. Pitva pitva vrajati, and so on. पौनः पुण्ये द्योत्ये पूर्वविषये नमुल् स्यात् क्त्वाच द्वित्वं. स्मारं स्मारं शिवं नमति, स्मृत्वा स्मृत्वा पायं पायं, भोजं भोजं श्रावं श्रावं. So you can either use namul or you can use shrutva shrutva, bhuktva bhuktva, and so on. So somebody is asking how can you, how will you express the fact that somebody is crying for a long time? Ruditva ruditva गच्छति, और रोदम रोदम गच्छति, और रोदम रोदम स्वपीति. एतादृशः प्रयोगाः भवितुम् अर्हन्ति. So gamam 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 gamam. So here in the next 3 or 4 statements, he basically gives some aspects of the prakriya for namul. So vibhasha chinnamuloho, we are going to see all these sutras in upcoming slides. So vibhasha chinnamuloho is one sutram, then chinnamuloho anyatrasyam is another sutram. So vyavasthita vibhasha and so on, all these things we will see on the upcoming slides when we talk about the prakriya of the namul pratyaya. So I'll skip these 3-4 lines. If you want, you can come back to it later on. So somebody is saying here also ktva pratyaya becomes lyapa. Yes, ktva pratyaya becoming lyapa has nothing to do with the context. So as long as there is an samasa over here with an avyaya except for naya. So नय समासः नास्ति. नय समासः नास्ति इत्युक्ते नय इत्यनेन तत्र कृदन्तस्य क्त्वा प्रत्ययन्तस्य समासः न क्रियते, तस्यां स्थितौ ल्यप् प्रत्ययः भवति. So they have quoted an example from Bhagavad Gita, तच्च संस्मृत्य संस्मृत्य रूपमत्यद्भुतं हरेः. So संस्मृत्य संस्मृत्य इत्यत्र णमुल् प्रत्यय क्त्वा प्रत्ययः अस्ति, तस्य ल्यबादेशः अस्ति, तदनन्तरं द्विर्वचनं कृतम् अस्ति. So this actually reminds me, if you look at the yesterday's discussion, परावर योगे च इत्यत्र अप्राप्य इति शब्दः आसीत्. So because we were running out of time, I actually forgot talking that point. But now that you have mentioned this ktva converting to lyapa, I remembered I wanted to talk that. So paravare yoge cha ityatra asmabhi kim udaharanam drushtam yastana varge aprapya nadim parvatah. So one might ask a question, how is this lyapa happening? Because there is a nay samasa is there, and the sutra talks about samase anay purve kvo lyapa. So if this is a nay samasa over here, we would say akrutva. So we don't say akrutya, we say akrutva. So how is the lyapa happening over here? And the answer to that question is that it is not a samasa on ktva. There is a different upasarga in between. Pra upasarga is there. So pra plus apa ityatra ktva pratyasya lyap iti krutah asti. So even if you don't have a over there, still it is pra plus apa plus lyapa. That is the place where ktva becomes lyapa, and after you do prapya, then on the outer level there is a nay samasa. So nay samasa has nothing to do with the directly anything to it has nothing directly to do with the prakriya of the ktva pratyaya, and therefore atra samase ane purve ityasya prasaktihi nasti. So that is actually an important point, but I missed it because we are running short of time. But thanks for this question. I thought I remembered I had to explain this. So general bottom line is that any time, there is no exception to this rule, any time there is a samasa with an avyaya, not everything, like parama krutva uttama krutva tatra na bhavati, यत्र अव्ययेन सह समासः अस्ति तत्र नए अव्ययं विहाय अन्यैः सह समासः क्रियते चेत् क्त्वा प्रत्ययस्य ल्यप् आदेशः नित्यं भवति. There is no exception. Anytime क्त्वा comes in such a context, it becomes ल्यप. So that completes the discussion of abhikshण्येन च. Agre gacchamaha. So tatra asmabhi prathamam sutram samaptam abhikshण्येन च, and now some really tough context specific sutras start. Somehow, sometimes when I revise or read these sutras, I ask myself, why are so complicated sutras, convoluted sutras even given over here? But anyway, na yadyana kangshe agrimam sutram asti, na yadyana kangshe. As the word itself indicates, it starts with na, as the sutra indicates. Na iti nishedhaha tatra uktah asti. Kasya nishedhaha uktah asti? Purvam yatra yatra ktva pratyayah uchyate, अपि च पूर्वस्मिन् सूत्रे नमुल् प्रत्ययः उच्यते, सर्वेषाम् अपि अत्र निषेधः उक्तः अस्ति. So one should not misunderstand this as the nishedha only for the previous sutram. That is not the context over here. The nishedham is that of all the sutras starting from alankhalvo pratishedhayo prachantva and so on, in a very specific context. That nishedha is being told over here. The sutram is na yadyana kangshe. And what is that context? सर्वैः पूर्वसूत्रैः पाठितौ क्त्वाणमुल् प्रत्ययौ तदा न भवतः यता वाक्ये यद इति सर्वनामस्य प्रयोगः क्रियते. If the statement uses word like yad, then you do not use the pratyayas ktva and namul as given in the previous 3 or 4 or 5 sutras. So look at this. Let's read the Kashika first line and then we will talk about the description of the sutram. Yad shabde upapade. Look at the breakup of the sutram. Na yadi anakangshe. Na yadyanakankshe ityasya sandhicheda katham na yadi anakangshe. Forget about anakangsha. It is actually negation of negation. So na is one negation and anakangshe is akangshe tasya negation. So essentially in the same sutra he gives a nishedha and he also gives kind of a negation of the nishedha in one sense. But we keep that anakangshe aside for now. Let's first understand the main part and then we will talk about anakangshe. So na yadi. Now first thing to understand over here is yadi. Over here is not the avyaya from yadi tarhi. This is the saptami ekavachan of the word yada. सामान्य रूपेण यद इति शब्दः सर्वनाम रूपेण यदा प्रयुज्यते तदा तत्र यस्मिन् इति सप्तमी एकवचनं भवति. So forms of the sarvanama are slightly different. So yad becomes yasmin, but that transformation happens when it is a sarvanama. Here the word yada is used as a visheshanama over here. Yada iti shabde upapade. So yada is a proper noun used over here. It is not used as a sarvanama. In the actual prayoga, it will be sarvanama, obviously. But here, in order to indicate that word, it is a special word. It is not being treated as the sarvanama in the sutram. So we cannot use the sarvanama specific sutras, and therefore smatsmino and sarvanamna smatsmino and so on. So we have to resort to normal saptami. So just like marut becomes maruti, or say yad will become yadi. So na yadi yat shapte upapade. Saptami asti atah upapade iti artha. Yat shapte upapade dhatoho क्त्वा नमुलौ प्रत्ययौ न भवतः. And this is specifically not just for the immediate previous sutram, but all the other sutras also. So that's what he explains over here. Namul anantara. Anantara is the nearest one. Namul was just introduced in the previous sutram. Like before that, we did not know Namul. So Namul Anantaraha, Namul Pratyaya was introduced just in the previous sutram. Anantara means very close, closest. Ktva tu Purva Sutra Vihitaha Api Pratishidyate. The Ktva Pratyaya, not just from the previous sutram, but all the previous sutras before that. And Namul, obviously, there was no occurrence of Namul in the older sutras. It is just the previous sutram. So Namul Anantaraha Ktvatu Purva Sutraha Api Pratishidyate. So if you take a statement like Ayam, forget about Yada for now. If you take a statement like Ayam Bhunkte Tataha Pathati, simple statement, Devadatta Asti, Bhunkte Tatha Pathati. Here you can use the Tva Pratyaya, say Bhuktva Pathati. You still cannot use Namul because there is no Vipsa, there is no Abhikshne over here. On the other hand, if you say Ayam Punaha Punaha Bhunkte Tataha Pathati, you can definitely use Namul Bhojam Bhojam Pathati, or you can use Tva Bhuktva Bhuktva Pathati. So all that is evident from the previous sutram. All that suddenly changes when you introduce an additional word in the sentence, and that word is yada. So this is a style of saying. Yat ayam bhunkte tataha pathati. Yat is actually not related to the food that he's eating. It's just a style of saying. So for example, even in the English, we can say like I will go and then I will come. This is a normal way of saying, but many times in the local language we can also say here I go and come. So when you say here I go and come, you are not going here. You will go somewhere else. But you use this here word, which is exactly nothing but the yada word. See how similarity is there between languages that are so much apart. So here I go and come, or here I eat and come, which effectively means I will first eat and I will come. But using that word here in the sentence is the same as using the word yada in the sentence. That place you cannot use ktwa and namul. That is whole point of this particular sutram. Yad ayam bhunkte tataha pathati ityatra yad ayam bhuktva pathati iti prayogaha na bhavati. That's coloring is important. This red color specifically because it is not an acceptable usage. So yad ayam bhunkte tataha pathati. Here I eat and come. So here I eat and read. So yad ayam bhuktva pathati, or here he eats and reads. Ayam asti. So yat ayam bhuktva pathati iti prayogaha na bhavati. Evamev yadayam punah punah bhunkte tatah pathati. Tatrapi yadayam bhojam bhojam pathati yadayam bhuktva bhuktva pathati etadrishaha prayogaha na bhavati. So you do not get ktva and namul pratyaya in a vritti vakyam where the yad word is used just as a expression, not as a I mean, it's not necessarily used as a visheshana of something, just as an expression, just as a random word, as you use in other languages also. If you use that word over here, and that's an acceptable usage in the language, but you don't use ktva and namul pratyaya over there. So that is basically the meaning of the first fragment. We have still not seen anakangshe, but that is basically the meaning of the first fragment. Yad ayam bhunkte tatah pachati yad ayam adhite tatah shete ityatra kutrapi ktva tatha namul pratyayau na bhavatah iti asya sutrardhasya ashayah. And then he then negates that particular negation. So he says anakangshe. What is akanksha? Akanksha is an expectation of yet another kriya. So when you are saying yad ayam bhunkte tataha pathati, you are actually talking about two kriyas. There is a bhojana kriya and there is a pathana kriya. As long as there are only two kriyas, the current rule holds. But if suddenly a third kriya is also in the picture, then we say there is an akanksha of yet another kriya, and under such circumstances the current nishedha does not hold, which means you can go back to ktva and namul pratyaya. So yadi vakyasya sampurna artha avagamanartham api कस्याश्चित् क्रियाया sorry यदि वाक्यस्य संपूर्ण अर्थगमनार्थं तृतीयायाः अपि कस्याश्चित् क्रियायाः आकांक्षा विद्यते तर्हि क्त्वाणमुल प्रत्ययौ अवश्यं भवतः. As long as there are only two kriyas, the nishedha holds. When there are three or more kriyas, the nishedha stops acting. You can go back to tva and namul. So yadayam bhunkte tataha pathati tataha vrajati. First he will eat, then he will read, and then he will go. Yadayam bhunkte tataha pathati tataha vrajati. Here you can definitely convert the word bhunkte to bhuktva. Yadayam bhuktva pathati tataha vrajati iti prayogah sadhu. Iti prayogah sadhu. So that's exactly what is in the last line of the commentary also. Yadayam bhuktva vrajati tataha param adhite. Yadayam bhuktva vrajati adhite tatah param. Ordering is changed. That's it. Similarly, in the Kaumudi, yadayam bhuktva vrajati tatah adhite. First eats, then goes, and then reads or studies. So yadayam bhuktva pathati tatah vrajati iti prayogah sadhu. Evameva, we can talk about the abhikshani also. Abhikshani was learned in the previous sutram. Let's take an example of that. Yadayam punah punam smarati tatah namati tatah gacchati. So you have an akanksha of the third kriya. When you have an akanksha of the third kriya, the nishedha will not apply. Yadayam smaram smaram smrutma smrutva va namati tatah gacchati iti prayogah sangacchate. So understand, the vritti vakya will have two tatahas. One tataha will go away because of usage of tva or namul pratyaya. In the normal sense also, when you say pathati tataha gacchati, and when you convert that, it becomes pathitva gacchati. So one tataha goes away. It's kind of absorbed in the meaning of tva. So here original sentence will have tataha for the second kriya and tataha for the third kriya. The tataha for the second kriya is going to be absorbed in this namul or tva pratyaya. Absorbed in this is not physically absorbed. The meaning is captured over there. The third tataha remains as it is. So smaram smaram namati tataha gacchati. Iti atra ashayah. So I think we have gone through this commentary. Let's quickly go through the Kaumudi once again. Yat shabde upapade purvakale yat praptam tat na yatra purvottare kriye tad vakyam aparam na khangshate chet. So very convoluted way of writing. So once you understand Kashika, this becomes very easy. Yat shabde upapade. So the word yat has to be there. Purvakale yat praptam. So you are still in the context of samana kartakayoh purvakale abhikshne namulcha and so on. Purvakale yat praptam tat na yatra purvottare kriye. Two kriyas are there. Tad vakyam aparam nakangshate. Two kriyas are self-sufficient to indicate that scenario. The third kriya is not required. Yatra purvottare kriye paryapte iti sheshah tad vakyam aparam nakangshate iti atra ashayah. In that case you can use you cannot use, when you don't have the third kriya, you cannot use tva and namul. Otherwise you can use. So yadayam bhukte tatah patati iha tva namulau na anakanksheti kim yadayam bhuktva vrajati tato adhite atra tu avashyam bhavati. Okay, so one side question that somebody asked over here, what is this bhunkte? It is atmane padi ekavachanam lat lakara. So bhunkte bhunjate bhunjate iti bhunkte iti atmane padasya lat lakarasya prathama purushasya ekavachanamasti. Okay, agre gacchamaha. Even further, this next sutram is like thoroughly weird. So abhikshne namulche iti asmabhi adhitam na yadyanakangshe iti adhitam agre asti vibhasha agre prathama purveshu. Now please pay attention. This is like my honest attempt to explain. There's a lot of chaos sitting in this sutram, and my honest attempt to explain it in the most systematic way that I can think of. This slide was created like literally half an hour before the class started. I was myself not happy with the way I was about to explain, so I cooked up this slide literally one half an hour before the session. So vikalpena atraktva tatha namul pratyayoho nirdeshah kritah asti. Understand the context first. So this is a simple sentence. The devadattaha adau bhunkte tataha gacchati. This is what we have been continuously saying. Samana kartrukayoho purvakale ittenena atra ktva tatha anamul iti samana kartrukayoho purvakale ittenena atra ktva pratyaya bhavati paunah punyam nasti ata anamul pratyasya atra vishayah api nasti. Now let's look at a similar looking but a different sentence. अन्य जनानाम अपेक्षया देवदत्तः प्रथमं भुङ्क्ते ततः गच्छति. Keep these two sentences in front of you and compare and contrast them. In the first sentence, there are two kriyas, bhunkte and gacchati. Obviously, the first kriya, the purvakala kriya is bhunkte, the next is gacchati. Exactly same thing happens in the second sentence also. There Devadatta is doing two kriyas, bhojana kriya first and gamana kriya second. He first going to eat and then going to go, but the context is slightly different. In the first case, it is a simple standalone Devadatta who eats and then goes, and therefore तत्र समानकर्तृकयोः पूर्वकाले इति क्त्वा प्रत्ययं कृत्वा देवदत्तः भुक्त्वा गच्छति इति प्रयोगः संगच्छते इति पूर्वसूत्रैः अस्माभिः दृष्टम्. इदानीम् अत्र किमस्ति? If you look at this statement slightly, try to inspect it properly, the relationship of bhojana kriya is not that closely with the gamana kriya as against it is with the bhojana kriya of other people. So anya jananam apekshaya devadattah prathamam bhunkte. So the bhojana kriya, the prathamikata of the bhojana kriya, the fact that the bhojana kriya occurs first. In the previous case also bhojana kriya occurs first in the first example, but it occurs before gamana kriya. That is the relation between the two. In the second case, the bhojana kriya of course appears before the gamana kriya. There is no second thought about it. But there is additional information captured over there that this bhojana kriya occurs before the bhojana kriya of other people. Anya jananam apekshaya devadattah prathamam bhunkte. So this bhunkte word in the second statement is actually talking about the other bhojana kriyas and is being compared with the adana bhojana kriyas and saying that this devadatta completes his food first as against the other people, and this explicit separate meaning is imparted in this particular sentence by the word prathamam. अन्यजनानाम् अपेक्षया देवदत्तः प्रथमं भुङ्क्ते. As soon as you say prathamam bhunkte, this immediately introduces a comparison of bhojan kriya of devadatta with bhojan kriya of other people, and not just comparison, purvakala is also important. So bhojana kriya of devadatta is purvakalika as compared to bhojana kriya of other people. This is the extra piece of information that is embedded over here. Repeating for one last time, for the first example, bhunkte is a purvakalika kriya in context of gacchati. In the second example, bhunkte is definitely purvakalika in context of gacchati. There is no second thought about it. But that's not all. There is something else going on. Bhunkte is also purvakalika with other bhojana kriyas, and that is introduced by the word prathama. This is the theme that is captured in the current sutram. The sutra Vibhasha Agre Prathama Purveshu gives us three explicit words. Prathama, these are all upapadas. Prathama, Agre, and Purvam. All these mean the same thing. 20 people are eating and Devadatta finishes first. That's exact. Or 20 people are reading and Devadatta finishes first. That's exactly the meaning given by all the three words. So Prathamam, अग्रे तथा पूर्वम् एते शब्दाः उपपदरूपेण यदा प्रयुज्यन्ते तदा विभाषाग्रे प्रथमपूर्वेषु इति सूत्रेण णमुल् प्रत्ययः अपि भवति त्वा प्रत्ययः अपि भवति इति अस्य सूत्रस्य अर्थः. So the meaning or the examples are प्रथमं भोजं गच्छति और प्रथमं भुक्त्वा गच्छति. अन्य जनानाम अपेक्षया देवदत्तः प्रथमं भोजं गच्छति और प्रथमं भुक्त्वा गच्छति. अन्य जनानाम and so on you don't need in the sentence, that's just for building the context. अग्रे भोजं गच्छति, अग्रे भुक्त्वा गच्छति. पूर्वं भोजं गच्छति, पूर्वं, typing mistake, पूर्वं भुक्त्वा गच्छति. So when these three upapadas are there, prathama, agre or purva. In case of these three upapadas, you can use the namul pratyaya or you can use the ktva pratyaya. That is the basic essence of this sutram. 100 other questions it opens up. What is the meaning of the word vibhasha is the first question. There are people already asking this kind of question. Why is ktva again told in this sutram, and so on. So 100 questions are going to come up, and all these will be addressed in the upcoming slides. Please pay a little bit attention, please be a little bit patient, at least understand what is being discussed over here. So if the context is only the relationship between bhunkte and gacchati, you can always use tva pratyaya from the previous sutram, samana kartukayoho purvakale. But here there is additional context, and that additional context is being given by vibhashagre prathama purveshu tatra prathamam bhojam gacchati prathamam bhuktva gacchati iti rupam siddhyati. Technically speaking, ktva is not needed in this sutram, because when you say anya jananam apekshaya devadattah prathamam bhunkte tatah gacchati, prathamam bhunkte tatah gacchati component is already there. So purely by samana kartrukayoho purvakale, you can of course add ktva pratyaya. But there are certain reasons why which all these weird things, including the word vibhasha or including the anuvritti of ktva and so on, are done. We will look at all those one by one. For now, at least understand the basic meaning of the sutram. When you have these three words, agre, prathama and purva, we can use the namul pratyaya and we can use the ktva pratyaya. One point I want to clarify before we move ahead. Atra prayoge dvitvam dvirvachanam na drishyate. Kimartham atra abhikshnyam nasti. Only when there is an abhikshnyam you can do smaram, smaram, dhyayam, and so on. Namul pratyaya can be used in 10 different places. This is one of them. Here it just says he finishes his food first. Doesn't talk about again and again eats. So atra tu namul pratyaya dvitvam ktva pratyaya dvitvam na bhavati. Prathamam bhojam gacchati, agre bhojam gacchati, purvam bhojam gacchati, ityeva prayogaha sangacchante. With this background and with possibly so many questions, so at least there are certain questions I can at least speak out the questions. First is, what is the meaning of the word vibhasha in this sutram? I have not yet answered it. We will talk about it. It's not simple. Second question is, why is ktva pratyaya already told in this sutram over here? I mean, ktva could have already been told. I mean, ktva was already told earlier. Prathamam bhunkte tatah gacchati. Here bhojana kriya happens before gamana kriya. So from that point of view, you can always use ktva pratyaya by samana kartrukayoho purvakale. So what is the reason of again telling ktva in this sutram? Valid question. I have not answered it. So these are the two questions that I have definitely not answered it. The third question opens up by a very weird word in Kashika. So Kashika starts talking about this particular sutram by saying aprapta vibhasha yam. So aprapta vibhasha yam. So he is not just saying vibhasha, but he's also, gone ahead and qualifies this as aprapta vibhasha. This is a third question, that even if I assume that this becomes a vibhasha, why is this aprapta vibhasha? Purvena na praptam asti iti katham uchyate. Ktva pratyasya विषये तो पूर्वेण प्राप्तमेव अस्ति. समानकर्तृकयोः पूर्वकाले इत्यनेनापि क्त्वा प्रत्ययः भवितुमर्हति. तर्हि अत्र अप्राप्त विभाषा इति किमर्थम् उच्यते? So that is the third question. Let me repeat the three questions. First question, why it is called vibhasha? Second question, why pratyaya ktva is repeated in the sutram? And third, why is it called aprapta vibhasha? So let me start with the third question first, because that is right here on the slide. Why do we call it aprapta? Let's assume that we know why it is vibhasha for now, but let's ask ourselves, why is it aprapta vibhasha? It should technically be either prapta vibhasha or ubhaya vibhasha. More accurately, it should be ubhaya vibhasha, because namul pratyasya विषये तादृशं प्रसक्तिः नास्ति, क्त्वा प्रत्ययस्य विषये तादृशं प्रसक्तिः अस्ति, उभयोः विषये अत्र विकल्प्यते, अतः उभय विभाषा भवेत् इति तत्र आक्षेपः. That's exactly being addressed in Padamanjari. Nanu evam namuli aprapte. Why it is not acceptable for, why it is not already given for namul? because this is a context only for the purva kala and the parakala kriya. Bhukte and gacchati, that is the context. Other things, prathama and so on, agre and so on, are visheshanas, additional context added. But the main context is bhojana kriya and then gamana kriya. So etadrushe sandarbhe त्वा प्रत्ययः पूर्वमेव प्राप्तः. Namul tu praptaha nasti. Namul we only learned for abhikshuyam. We have not seen any other usages of namul. So namul is aprapta, ktva was prapta. So even if assuming this is a vibhasha, which we are ourselves not clear why it is vibhasha, but even if assuming it is vibhasha, it would be ubhaya vibhasha. So that is the statement, that is the question put forth by Padamanjari. So nanu evam namuli aprapte क्त्वा प्रत्यये तु समानकर्तृकयोः इत्यादिना प्राप्ते सति अयमारम्भः अतः अत्र उभयत्र विभाषा उभय विभाषा इति एव युक्तम्. This should be called ubhaya vibhasha. Assuming it is a vibhasha, it should be called ubhaya vibhasha. And then he clarifies the intention of Kashikakara. He says na etad asti, that is not the context that Kashikakara has in mind. So he is saying that from one angle it can be called Ubhaya Vibhasha. If you are separately dealing with Ktva Pratyayas and Namul Pratyayas, one might call it Ubhaya Vibhasha. But that's not the context in which the Kashikakara is dealing over here. Na etadasti anantara sutra vihitau Ktvaanamulau abhipretya aprapta vibhasha iyamuchyate natu Ktvaanamul matra pikshaya. Kaha arthaha, if you go to the list of sutras, look at this sutram vibhashagre prathama purveshu, all that he is saying is I am talking about ktva and namul together. I am not talking about tva pratyay separately and namul pratyay separately. I am talking about ktva and namul together. So which is the previous sutram in which ktva and namul were discussed together? And that is abhikshunye namulcha. In this sutram abhikshunye namulcha, all that we talked was paun of punyam. We did not talk about a simple purvakala versus parakala. In abhikshunye namulcha also there was purvakala parakala, but it was additionally qualified by abhikshunyam. Simple single action purvakala and parakala was not discussed. Now we are discussing it single action purvakala and parakala. Ekavarameva bhuktva gacchati, prathamam bhuktva gacchati. So that way this is not prapta. It was not told earlier, so it is अप्राप्त विभाषा. सो केवलं क्त्वा प्रत्ययः तथा केवलं णमुल प्रत्ययः इति भिन्न रूपेण चिन्तनं क्रियते चेत् अवश्यम् उभय विभाषा रूपेण अस्य निर्देशः भवितुम् अर्हति. परन्तु काशिकाकारेण अप्राप्त विभाषा इति निर्देशः यः कृतः अस्ति तस्य निर्देशस्य कः अर्थः इति चेत् पूर्व यत्र क्त्वा तथा णमुल प्रत्ययो युगपत् रूपेण पाठ्येते तत्र अयं सन्दर्भः एकवारं पूर्वक्रियां कृत्वा तदनन्तरं परक्रिया क्रियते, एतादृशः सन्दर्भः तत्र नास्ति. तस्य सन्दर्भस्य चिन्तनं कुर्मश्चेत् पूर्वम् अप्राप्तः सन्दर्भः इदानीम् उच्यते, अतः इयम् अप्राप्त विभाषा अस्ति. So this is kind of a not very healthy explanation, but I mean, it's not outrightly wrong. I mean, if you think from one point of view, Kashika is definitely not outrightly wrong when he says over here, aprapta vibhasha over here. So that's being explained over here. Anantara sutra vihitau. Anantara, 2 minutes ago I said, Anantara is the closest, the one that just previous one. The previous one was Nishedha, so you take one step ahead. So anantara sutra vihitau tvanamalu abhipretya chintayitva tesham manasi dharanam krutva इयम अप्राप्त विभाषा इति उच्यते न तु क्त्वा तथा नमुल इति भिन्न रूपेण चिन्तनं क्रियते. क्त्वा नमुल मात्र मात्रम इत्युक्ते पृथक् रूपेण. So odana matram khadati means only it's odana, nothing else. So क्त्वा matram namul matram, only क्त्वा and only namul, don't think them as two separate pratyayas, think them as a tuple, as a pair given in one of the previous sutram, and for that particular pair only abhikshanya was being discussed. The normal step, single time Purvakala Kriya and Parakala Kriya was not discussed. That is the context in which a prapta word has to be understood. So somebody is asking, what is twa namul matra pekshaya? Twa matram ityukte kevalam twa iti artha. Namul matram ityukte kevalam namul iti artha. So twa namul matra pekshaya. Atra, so that is the meaning of that particular sentence. And then agre bhojam varjati. So I have explained the meaning over here. It is not just eating and going, but it has an additional component. Out of all the people who are eating, this guy finishes first and then goes. So anyebhyah bhoktrubhyah purvam bhuktva. So it can mean multiple things, like all of them start their food together and this guy finishes first. That is one acceptable interpretation. Or he eats first and then goes and then others start eating. Maybe he had an appointment, so he will first eat and go and then others will start eating. So that is also an acceptable meaning. Parantu bhojanasya samaptihi prarambhe bhavet tadanantarameva gamanam bhavet anyebhyah bhoktrubhyah purvam bhuktva vrajati iti. So aprapta vibhasha iyam. I have still not talked about the meaning of vibhasha. It will come on the next slide. Abhikshniye iti na anuvartate अग्रे प्रथम पूर्व इत्येतेषु उपपदेषु समानकर्तृकयोः पूर्वकाले धातौ क्त्वाणमुलौ प्रत्ययो विभाषा भवतः अग्रे भोजं व्रजति अग्रे भुक्त्वा व्रजति प्रथमं भोजं व्रजति प्रथमं भुक्त्वा व्रजति पूर्वं भोजं व्रजति पूर्वं भुक्त्वा व्रजति. This should be clear so far. Let's read Kaumudi. Abhikshnyeti nanuvartate. Because the previous sutram was abhikshnya, now it is just single point, one kriya and then another kriya, and that's why it is aprapta. Eteshu upapadeshu samanakartrukayoho purvakale ktvarnamulau vastaha. So look at the beautiful statement construct. Samanakartrukayoho purvakale. So ktva is already told by the previous sutram, but again he tells ktva and namul together. त्वाणमुलौ वास्तः अग्रे भोजं व्रजति अग्रे भुक्त्वा व्रजति प्रथमं भोजं प्रथमं भुक्त्वा पूर्वं भोजं पूर्वं भुक्त्वा इति अत्र सर्वत्र णमुल नोचित क्त्वा प्रत्ययः अस्ति. And that one last point that I mentioned, that you can always take the ktva pratyay by the previous sutram, and therefore kimartham ktva iti prashnah avashyam udeti. So that question itself is being rephrased or placed in Tattvabodhini over here. So agre prabhrutibhihi, agre prabhrutibhihi ityukte agre, prathama, purva, these words, what are these words indicating? These special qualifiers are indicating अन्येभ्यः भोक्तृभ्यः पूर्वं व्रजति. Eats before other eaters. So अन्येभ्यः भोक्तृभ्यः पूर्वं व्रजति. If you ignore that context, or even if you say that that context is on the top of the relationship between going and eating, then you can always resort back to ktva. There is no second thought over there. So that is explained in Tattvabodhini later on. Vrajana pekshaya purvatvam. So if you temporarily ignore the fact of purva agre prathama and only compare the bhojana kriya and gamana kriya, then obviously gamana kriya is later, bhojana kriya is earlier, so ktva pratyaya is already there. So vrajana pekshaya purvatvam tu tvanamulbhyam dyotate iti ashanka eva nasti. Tvanamulbhyam abhikshnyam asti chet namulapi no chet kevalam ktva. So vrajana pekshaya purvatvam yadi asti tatra ktva bhavet namul bhavet abhikshune namul bhavet ityatra ashanka eva nasti. One small comment on this particular statement, and then we will go ahead. When Kashika says abhikshune iti na anuvartate, this only means that the current sutra is not restricted to abhikshunyam. It does not mean that abhikshunyam is being negated. So punah punah prathamam bhungte tatah gacchati, that is also an acceptable context. Whether there is abhikshunyam or whether there is no abhikshunyam, this sutra has no difference, or there is no difference for this sutra. That is the intended meaning over here. Abhikshnya iti na anuvartate asya अर्थः आभिक्ष्ण्यस्य निषेधः करणीयः इति नास्ति. आभिक्ष्ण्यं भवेत् उत आभिक्ष्ण्यं न भवेत्, अस्य सूत्रस्य प्रयोगः अवश्यं भवितुम् अर्हति यदि तत्र प्रथमम् अग्रे पूर्वं एतादृशाः शब्दाः विद्यन्ते इति तत्र आशयः. एंड दैट्स द रीजन व्रजनपेक्षया लास्ट लाइन इन द तत्त्वबोधिनी व्रजनपेक्षया पूर्वत्वं त्वाणमुल्भ्यां द्योतते तत्र नमुल् इत्यपि निर्देशः अस्ति. यत्र आभिक्ष्ण्यम् अस्ति तत्र नमुल् भवितुमर्हति, यत्र आभिक्ष्ण्यं नास्ति तत्र क्त्वा भवितुमर्हति. आभिक्ष्ण्यस्य विषये अपि क्त्वा भवितुमर्हति. सर्वं सत्यमेव, सर्वं पूर्वसूत्रैः उक्तमेव अस्ति. Now comes an interesting question from somebody. So is this an upapada samasa? Yes, all these are upapada samasas. Upapadeshu iti uktam asti, parantu tatra upapada samasah na kriyate. So this is not a samasa. Sorry, I should have reconstructed my statements. All these are upapadas. Agre, prathamam, purvam, and so on. But these are not upapada samasas. Why these are not upapada samasas? They are not upapada samasas because of amaiva vyayena. What does amaiva vyayena say? Amaiva vyayena says that yatra sutre kevalam am pratyayah asti tatraiva samasaha bhavati. Last week's class, don't forget. Yatra tva tatha namul militva uchyete tatra samasaha na bhavati. And that is the reason why a redundant repetition of tva is done in this sutram. So here we answer our second question. किमर्थम अत्र अस्मिन् सूत्रे त्वा इति प्रत्ययः पुनः उच्यते? पूर्वसूत्रेण तस्य पर्याप्तत्वम् अस्ति वा? अवश्यम् अस्ति, परन्तु अत्र अस्मिन् सूत्रे णमुल् प्रत्ययेन सह त्वा प्रत्ययः अनेन कारणेन उच्यते यत् णमुल् प्रत्ययस्य विषये अपि अत्र उपपदसमासः न इष्यते. If the sutra only gives namul pratyaya, then amaiva vyayena, ama eva avyayena. Yasmin sutre kevalam am pratyayah asti, tasya sutrasya vishaye samasaha bhavati. I hope people remember what we maiva vyayena. I hope people remembered what we discussed in literally in the last week's class. Yatra kevalam am iti pratyayena sah prayo sutrasya nirdeshah asti. Tatra avashyam samasaha bhavati. So he says over here, ama eva yat tulya vidhanam upapadam. Tulya vidhanam means same sutram. So in the sutram where ama and other pratyaya is told, you cannot do the samasa. Same, exactly this example is given over here. Agre bhuktva agre bhojam. अत्र किमर्थं समासः न भवति? सूत्रे अम इति विहाय कश्चन अन्यः प्रत्ययः स्थापितः अस्ति. This is the reason why a so called redundant tva is also inserted in the sutra. Now remains one last question. What is this whole context of vibhasha? So let me read out a question that somebody has asked. So this sutram adds a special context to the first kriya by the words purvam and prathama and so on, agre and so on. So is that the reason why the word vibhasha is used? So that is a genuine question. The answer is no. Vibhasha has a completely different, even more complicated meaning. That's why I did not put it on this slide. We'll hold for 2 minutes. We will talk about the meaning of vibhasha on the next slide. But before that, let me repeat the 3 questions that we had. First question, why vibhasha? We have not yet answered it. Second question, why unnecessary repetition of ktva? We have answered it, for avoiding the upapada samasa. Third, what is this aprapta thing going on over here? We have answered it. It is in the context of the previous sutram and not for the pruthak and namul. So with this background, let's now go to what this vibhasha word says. Vibhasha grahnam etabhyam ma ukte ladadayah api yatha syuhu. The word vibhasha says that in this particular sentence, which sentence? Purvam bhojam vrajati, purvam bhuktva vrajati, agre bhojam vrajati. In all these sentences, there is an option. Obviously, vibhasha means option. Option of what? Option of using lakara pratyayas. You can use ktva or namul, or as a vibhasha, you can use lakara pratyayas. Understand this carefully. Vibhasha granam etabhyam ma te, etabhyam ma ukte is if you don't want to use twa and namul, ladadayah api yatha syuhu. The vibhasha is not bringing any other krut pratyas, it is bringing lakaras. Agre bhungte tato vrajati. First eats and then goes. Now you have three different constructs. You have agre bhungte tatah vrajati, agre bhojam tatah vrajati, agre bhuktva tatah vrajati. So vibhasha is actually bringing the lakara in the picture. Now this is the stupidest argument that one can think of in the beginning, because this statement agre bhungte tato vrajati is nothing but the krud vritti, and for all krudantas there has to be a krud vritti. So agre bhungte tatah vrajati is krud vritti, and agre bhojam vrajati is the krudanta usage. So what great thing we have done over here. All that we are saying is the word vibhasha is bringing krud vritti, which is nonsense, because krud vritti will anyway be there. Understand this point. Bringing using the word vibhasha, using the word vibhasha to bring ladadis, lat and others is completely nonsense, because that is essentially saying that krut vritti exists, which is true for absolutely every pratyaya. Krut is a vritti. So the vritti vakya, the vigraha vakya like kumbham karoti and so on will anyway exist. So it is as if saying that instead of ana pratyaya you use lakara and say kumbham karoti, and otherwise you say kumbhakara. That's as stupid as this one. So agre bhukte tata vrajati, this itself is a vritti. Forget about that also. You have vasurupa vidhi. So vasurupa vidhi will anyway bring those kind of pratyayas. So he says nanuja vasurupa vidhi iti bhavishyati. And then he explains, this is the most confusing part of this whole discussion. And then he says that yes, that vibhasha is kind of useless, vyartha. And again, vyartha will indicate some kind of jnapaka. Yesterday we saw that many times you pick up on those vyartha words and call them, refer to them by some, or infer some jnapakas from them. So that's what exactly he says. This vibhasha, I tried to explain that it is like ladadis also come over here, but you are arguing back by saying that the ladadis can anyway come by krudvrutti. So the answer is, the fact that ladadis are explicitly told by vibhasha over here is a jnapaka that the ladadis will not come for other occurrences of twa and namul together. In other words, this is the most crucial part. Please pay attention. If you look at this state sequence of sutras, Ktwa and Namul together, where are they being told? They are being told in the previous sutram, Abhikshne Namul Cha. Wherever Ktwa and Namul are being told together, the question is, can you write a Vritti purely using the Ladadis? Can you write a Vritti? Can you compose a statement, Vritti or an equivalent statement? You can take it either way. Can you compose a statement with purely lakaras? The fact that the word vibhasha is used over here approves such an usage for agre bhungte tatah gacchati, prathamam bhungte tatah gacchati, and so on. At the same time, it disapproves such a usage for abhikshanyena mulcha. And therefore, go back all the way to the first slide of our class. Remember what was written over here. Smarati smarati tatah namati iti vritti na lekhaniya. Kimartham smarati smarati tatah namati iti vritti na lekhaniya? Atra ladadayah na bhavanti. Punah punah smarati is still okay, because there the ladadis are not directly used to indicate the abhikshnya. Abhikshnya is indicated by the word punah punah. Smarati is just a kriya, so that is not interfering anywhere. But if you say smarate smarati tatah namati, ladadis themselves, ladadis lat lakar, lat lakar itself is indicating paunaf punyam, lat lakar itself is indicating abhikshnyam. That is not acceptable. Why it is not acceptable? Because the word vibhasha in the current sutram limits that particular application purely for agre, prathama and purva words. So vibhasha grahanam, let नो चेत् अन्ये लकाराः अपि स्युः इत्यस्मिन् सन्दर्भे भवति, अत्र भवति, परन्तु एतद् विधानं व्यर्थम् अस्ति, बिकॉज़ सामान्यरूपेण वृत्तिलेखनसमये सर्वत्र लडादयः भवन्ति। सो व्यर्थं सत् किं ज्ञापयति, सो इत्यनेन किं ज्ञाप्यते, पूर्वम् इत्युक्ते आभीक्ष्ण्ये एतादृशाः लडादयः न भवन्ति। सो आभीक्ष्ण्ये लडादयः न भवन्ति. This was the most complex part of whole discussion. So अग्रे भुङ्क्ते भुङ्क्ते ततः व्रजति एतादृशः प्रयोगः न भवति. You cannot say, you can say अग्रे पुनः पुनः भुङ्क्ते, because abhikshnyam is not captured by bhunkte, it is captured by punah punah. The problem, the objection is on the abhikshnyam being represented by ladadis. So you cannot say agre bhunkte bhunkte tatah vrajati. This is not acceptable. Abhikshniye ladadayah na bhavanti. So this is the purpose of the word vibhasha. Very confusing. Please listen to this last 20 minutes once again if needed. Vibhasha is essentially saying that lat and other lakaras can be used over here, but that would be nonsense. Just saying like that would be nonsense, because lat and other lakaras can always be used in the vritti vakya. So the implied meaning of vibhasha in this sutram is in a different sutram. Which sutram? Abhikshne namulcha iti sutram. तस्मिन् सूत्रे लडादयः आभीक्ष्ण्यस्य निर्देशार्थं न भवन्ति, आभीक्ष्ण्ये लडादयः न भवन्ति, अतः अग्रे भुङ्क्ते भुङ्क्ते ततः व्रजति इति प्रयोगः न संगच्छते. Is the whole summary. And then finally the last line, upapada samasah kimartham na bhavati. We talked about that. Twa and namul are brought together. That's why upapada samasah na bhavati. So that point we have already covered. So abhikshnya iti nanuvartate. Eshu upapadeshu samanakартакयोः पूर्वकाले क्त्वाणमुलौ वास्तः अग्रे भोजम अग्रे भुक्त्वा. Same commentary from the previous slide. पक्षे लडादयः अग्रे भुङ्क्ते ततो व्रजति, आभीक्ष्ण्ये तु पूर्व प्रतिषेधेन नित्यमेव विधि, अग्रे भोजम भोजम व्रजति, भुक्त्वा भुक्त्वा व्रजति, and so on. So there are a few questions, I think a lot of confusion about this sutram. So somebody is saying he uses abhikshnya to support the vibhasha. No, he is not using abhikshnya to support vibhasha. He is in fact saying that the word vibhasha over here has an implication in some other sutram. So let's go to the ordering of the sutra. What he is saying is vibhasha word over here actually turns out to be negation in the sutram called abhikshnya namulcha. What kind of negation? Ladadinam abhikshnya prayogasya nishedha. Ladadis cannot be used to indicate abhikshnya. You can still say pachati pachati. That is acceptable because that has nothing to do with krut vritti. But you cannot say pachati pachati tatha gacchati. That kind of statement is not applicable in the language, acceptable in the language. How do I know? I know it because of the word vibhasha in this sutram. I have explained it in thorough details. Please spend some time in watching that whole 20 minutes of segment, and then I think most of the stuff will be clear in that context. There are a few more questions. If there are three kriyas, so whether there are three kriyas or whether there are four kriyas, that doesn't matter. What we are talking about is whether the ladadis will come or not. So if there are three kriyas, still the whole discussion continues to remain that you can have ladadis optionally in case of vibhasha agre prathama purveshu. You cannot have those in case of abhikshne namulcha. So if there are three kriyas, repeat the same thing for the first and the second kriya, and then the third kriya can just tag along. Anyway, there are too many slides remaining, so I don't want to derail, or I don't want to push this in the next class. So maybe 10-15 more minutes maybe, but let's take a few more slides. Basically namul pratyasya prakriyayah विषये किंचित वदामि. किमपि नास्ति, केवलं त्रीणि सरल सूत्राणि सन्ति. So namul pratyasya prakriya is identical to the navul pratyaya. So I'm not going to go in the entire flow chart once again. णवुल प्रत्ययान्त रूपस्य अन्ते अक इति अस्ति, पाचक पाठक लेखक एंड सो ऑन. क इति निष्कास्य अम इति स्थापनीयम्. सो पच पाचक तस्य स्थाने पाचम इति करोतु. आवश्यकं चेत् द्वित्वं करोतु. Only if there is abhikshna you do dvitva, otherwise there is no need of dvitva. So pacham इति वक्तुं शक्यते, नो चेत् पाचम इति वक्तुं शक्यते. So क इत्यस्य स्थाने केवलं म इति स्थापनीयं. That's the only thing that you have to do. Only thing means this is not how the prakriya happens. This is how the prayoga should be done. Prakriya is identical to the namul pratyaya. Namul pratyaya. There are only 3 specific sutras. Very simple sutra actually. Here is the summary, and on next slides I have actually explained the sutras, but you can take a look at the sutras later on. I'll first walk through the summary. The first sutram is Apaguro Namuli. The second sutram is Chinnamulaha Dirghaha Anyatarasyam. And the third sutram is Vibhasha Chinnamuloho. So simple sutras actually. There is absolutely nothing in these sutras. Appaguro Namuli says specifically for this appa and gurra dhatu. Gurra is guri udyamane. Is there? The sutram is over here. I think he explains this. Guri udyamane. So guri udyamane, to put effort iti arthaha. Guri udyamane appa upasargaha purvakaha ayam dhatuhu asti chet. Obviously there will be upadha guna, so it will be apagor, and after the upadha guna is done there is optional akaradesha. So upadha gune krute vikalpena akaradesha bhavati apagaram or apagoram iti ubhayatha rupam siddhyati. So apa plus gura ityasya apagoram iti api bhavati, apagaram iti api bhavati. That's all about this sutram. So I'll talk about the vyakhya on the next slide, but this is all about it. Second, chinnamulo dirghaha anyatarasyam. So this particular sutram talks about mitta dhatus. You all know what are mitta dhatus. Ghatadayaha mittaha ityanena mit dhatavaha uchyante. Inich pratyay pare mitam hrasvaha iti tesham vishe hrasvadeshah bhavati. So for these mitta dhatus, when you add the nicha pratyaya and the namul pratyaya on the top of it, mitam hrasvaha ityanena yaha hrasvadeshah bhavati saha पुनः विकल्पेन दीर्घः भवति. सो मितां ह्रस्व इति उपधार ह्रस्वे कृते विकल्पेन तस्य दीर्घादेशः भवति. सो घट इति उदाहरणं. घटादयः मितः इत्यनेन घट इति मित् धातु, तस्मात् णिच् प्रत्यये कृते घटयति इति भवति. उपधा दीर्घं कृत्वा घाटयति इति न भवति, घटयति इति भवति. तत्र णमुल् प्रत्यये परे उपधा दीर्घः विकल्पेन भवति. घटं नो चेत् घाटम्. अग्रे द्वित्वं कृत्वा घटं घटं घाटं घाटं इति सिद्ध्यति. So somebody is asking what is chin. Ignore, nothing to do with current discussion. Anyway, I mean, I don't think I will be able to discuss all this. I remember just now while discussing this sutram that there is an aspect of bhashya that also I want to talk, but I think it's too much for today. So we'll park here and we will go in the remaining slides in the next class. But let's take this last point for now. Vibhasha chinnamuloho. This specific sutram is about only the labha dhatu, even that without the upasarga. So labha dhatu tatra namul pratyayah asti, tatra labhescha iti nityah numagamah samanya rupena prapnoti. So labhescha sutram talks about achi pare numagama. So labha dhatu asti, tasya vishay ajadi pratyay pare. Namul is an ajadi pratyaya. Ajadi pratyay pare nityam numagama bhavati. So labha plus aniyar becomes lambhaniya, not labhaniya, lambhaniya. So labha तत्र अजादि प्रत्यय परे नुमागमः भवति, सः नुमागमः अत्र विकल्प्यते. सो लम्भम इति भवति, नो चेत् लभ and then upadha वृद्धिं कृत्वा लाभम इति भवति. So only 3 specific sutras. One is for gur udyamane dhatu, the second is for all the mitta dhatus, and third is for labha dhatu. For these 3 specific contexts, there is a specific special stuff happening in the namul prakriya. On the next slide, next few slides, I wanted to discuss this prakriya, but we are running out of time. More interestingly, there is a little bit of bhasha aspect over here. It's not very difficult, but I think our brains are packed right now after talking about vibhasha and agre prathama purveshu and so on. Plus I wanted to discuss the khamoy pratyay also today, but I think it will be too much. I mean, if it were like, if it was 5 minutes extra, I would have definitely taken, but there is definitely at least 15 to 20 minutes of material remaining. So there's no point in going ahead. Let's stop here. What we will do in the next class, there are a few questions that I'll take right now, but what we will do in the next class is we will quickly talk about the prakriya of the namul pratyay, these 3 points along with the sutram, and then we will continue with khamoi and other pratyas. So there is a question over here. So Ktwa and Namul are in the single sutram. Vasrupa Vidhi will not be applicable for them. So yes, Vasrupa Vidhi is about Utsarga and Apavada. You should always remember this. When two pratyas are told in the same sutram, there is no relationship of Utsarga Apavada between them. Like Ganavul Truchau or like Tavya Tavyani Araha. There is no relationship between them as Utsarga Apavada. Vasrupavidhi always talks about asarupaha apavadaha utsargam vikalpena badate. So unless there is a utsarga apavada relationship, you cannot just take two random pratyas and talk Vasrupavidhi in that context. Then I think I've answered most of them. There are a few of a little bit different questions unrelated, so I'll keep them aside for now. The reason I am stopping right now is there are 2 or 3 important instructions that I want to give. So please pay attention to the instructions. Before that, let's quickly take a look at the homework, and then I'll talk about the instructions. Don't disconnect. So Ktwa, Namul, Khamoi, Pratyaya. So there is no Khamoi discussed today. There are Khamoi related 1 or 2 questions. Just keep them as it is or answer them based on your understanding of the sutras or whatever, or you can answer them next week. I don't want to change the homework just for 1 or 2 sutras over there, so we'll keep the homework as it is. एकवाक्येन उत्तराणि लिखत स्मारं स्मारं नमति अत्र द्वित्वं कथं भवति णमुल प्रत्ययान्त शब्दाः अव्ययसंज्ञकाः कथं घट णिच णमुल. So this is the prakriya for chinnamulon and natarasyam. You can keep it aside and answer it next week after I discuss that sutram and so on. And then namul pratyanta shabdanam siddhim darshayata. So smaram pralambham shamam shamam dhyayam dhyayam sarvatra siddhim atra darshaniya. So couple of instructions. First is that the chanting related exam. So I have been continuously saying that one of the goals of our course is to at least chant, memorize or parayanam, chanting. So whichever you want. So the chanting exam has been scheduled on 7th of July from 5 to 7 IST. There are at least 8 to 10 people from our class who have individually reached out to me. I have put them in touch with Venkatji and they know they have already registered for the exam. This is a note for remaining of you who are ready to do the memorization or even the parayanam, even the chanting is okay by looking at the book, because there are some tongue twister sutras, samprachanudhang yamang yasa parisu sansuja paridevi sanjora parikshipa parirata and so on, or tumarthe se sena sena deya denka deka desha desha den. So there's so many such tongue twister sutras that even if you are able to pronounce them properly, that's a big thing that shows your practice. So whether you want to do the smaranam, the memorization, or whether you want to do the parayanam, because parayanam is also very useful. They will tell you the mistakes that you are doing while pronouncing Hraswa versus Dirgha, while pronouncing say Alpa Prana versus Mahaprana and so on. So whether you want to do smaranam or whether you want to do parayanam or you want to do mix, like one chapter you have memorized, you want to do smaranam, other chapters you just want to read from the website or from the book, that is parayanam. So smaranam or parayanam iti kimapi आवश्यकम इति किमपि कर्तुं जनाः इच्छन्ति चेत् 7th July 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time. This is the regular time for this Learn to Chant Ashtadhyayi course taken by Venkatji. So please register for Learn to Chant Ashtadhyayi webinar. Attend one of their classes in which they can give the instruction on how to join the exam and so on. So it's typically they will send you a link, you will join Zoom call or webinar call, they will put you in a breakout room. It will be just you and the examiner and it will be like 3 or 5 minutes. They'll ask you to recite some portion of a pada that you have chosen, not what they have chosen. Like you have to tell that I have memorized 3.2 and I want to give exam of 3.2, and then they will ask you to recite a certain portion, not necessarily from the beginning. They will get you started. They'll start say in between somewhere and so on. So for example, they'll speak 2-3 sutras together, say tavyat tavyani araha acho yat poradupadat, and then you continue from there. So that is I strongly request everybody who is regularly attending the Krudanta class should definitely go for this exam, either Smaranam or Parayanam, based on what is your current capacity, because that is one of the goals of our course. the memorization, I mean, I expected memorization of entire Ashtadhyayi, third chapter, but if that is not happening, let's boil down it to one pada. Even if that is not happening, at least you can read in the book and pronounce the Raswa Dirghas and Alpa Prana Mahaprana correctly. That is also a big thing for many of us. So Vyoma team, I will not be there. Venkatji will be doing the assessment, or I think some of his expert colleagues will be doing the assessment. So he will score you. He will give the detailed feedback, and the feedback is detailed. They will tell you where exactly you have to focus on, what things you are doing good, and the feedback is publicly posted on their course page. So if you go to Learn to Chant Ashtadhyayi course page, there is already feedback posted for last multiple exams that have been conducted. So they conducted exam of 3.1, 3.2. Look at this here. Click here to view the results of third adhyaya, first pada test result, third adhyaya, second pada test result, third adhyaya, third pada test result, and so on. So this upcoming 7th July is actually third adhyaya, fourth pada, but I have explicitly requested them that we are ending our course. So for the students of our course, it can be whichever pada of third adhyaya, chapter 3, 3.1, 3.2, 3.2, whichever you want, you can give in this particular exam. So many of you are already attending this class. I know this is a repetition for you all. Some of you are not attending. This is an information for you. And then coming back to our own exam, so our course and exam is on 31st July early morning. The paper will be emailed. This is open book test. Feel free to watch videos during the exam for finding answers. Refer to the website, other books, and so on. 100 multiple choice question, each question with 5 answers. One or more answers will be correct. This time it's not going to be Google form. It's just a PDF. The last page of the PDF will look like an answer sheet like this. So question paper will be provided as a PDF. The last page of this PDF question paper will be answer sheet. Just take a printout of that. I mean, you can take the printout of the whole thing or that last page. Write answers like this. So it will be exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 100. There will be space for writing your answers. Write A, B, C, D, E out of those 5 options. Whichever options are there, please write those options. Try to write the answers alphabetically. So if you want to write A, C, D, E, don't write D, A, C, E, and so on. I mean, there is nothing wrong, but it will confuse me. I have to manually correct all those things, so it might just confuse me. So please write alphabetically. If you want, you can write with pencil. If you want, you can write with pen, whatever. Just write answers on that answer sheet, scan it, and send by email. So that's how the exam will be conducted. Obviously, the answers, the model answers, and your answer sheet will be corrected, will be written back within 2 or 3 days. I don't think I'm going to I don't think I'm going to conduct any particular homework, sorry, exam answers discussion class. If people want, write to me personally and I'll take one class. If many of people, the majority of the people want, I can take one extra class for explaining the answers of the final exam. But the answer sheet that I will upload, there will be sufficient explanation. So I'm not just going to upload the final answer sheet like this. I will have proper bulleted detailed answers for each of them. Why is B correct and why is A or C or D not correct? All that is already written in the answer sheet. So that kind of detailed answer sheet will be uploaded. So after looking at that kind of answer sheet, I don't think you need any particular class. So there's one last question that I'll take and we will stop. uh, a couple questions. Okay, one question: will there be a penalty for not alphabetizing? No, there is no penalty. If you want to write DEAC instead of ACDE, that's okay. The only thing is, it will be a little bit difficult for me to grade because I have a model answer sheet which will say ACDE, and you would have written DCAE, and then the brain has to reconfigure. So there might be some mistakes done from my side while grading. Obviously, if you come back to me and say that my answer is the same except for the permutation, I will correct it and give the marks. That's not a big deal, but it's just a convenience for me that if you want to write 4 answers, just write ACD instead of DAC and so on. There is no penalty or there is no negative marking and so on for this. Then there is another question I actually wanted to discuss, that how many students are attending our course regularly. So just a quick statistics: when we started the course 2 years ago, there were 70 students who joined the initial class, and there were about 70 students for first few classes. The number slowly dropped down, 60, 50, 40, and so on. A few people joined in between, So there are a few, like 5 6 people I see regularly attending the classes, but they were not from the beginning. Some people were following the course offline earlier, now started attending online. So I am aware now I can identify all of you by email addresses or and by names, if not by faces. I was fortunate enough to meet some of you personally. Some 3 4 of you have also met personally over here. But the coming back to the question, there are 25 students in the class regularly attending. Today's account number was 26. So around 25 to 28 students regularly attend the class. The number started from 70, it has gone down till 28 or so. 28 might be upper number, just take it 23 to 26. That is the number of students that have been regularly attending. And I see all of you are dedicated. I don't see any of you dropping out. Just 4 or 5 classes are pending. There are many more questions. Okay, I can take all of them. Do we get certificate from Vyoma? Yes, you get a separate certificate for the chanting thing. That is not I conduct there's a separate certificate for the course. So yes, you will get the certificate from Vyoma, and whether it will contain marks or whether it will contain grades and so on, I'll have to discuss it with Vyoma team. All that I'm going to do is I'll grade your answer sheets and I'll hand over the final mark list to them, and it is for up to them to decide how to distribute certificates and what to write on the certificates and so on. Is I'm not involved in any of that logistics. Then what are the age group of the students? I think most of the students, I mean, I would say, I think this was actually discussed in one of the previous classes, but anyway, I can just give, like, there are like 50% of the students above age 50 and 50% of the students are below age 50. And even above the age 50, we have lots of people who are 60 plus, 65 plus. A lot of them are there. Uh, so I would say equal distribution above 50 and below 50. I think that's all. How do we express gratitude to you? We will wait till the last class. You can speak whatever you want in the last class. In the last class, we won't have much material to discuss. Just quick revision of the course within 10-15 minutes, and then I'll just open up the platform. Anybody who wants to talk, and in fact, I really want the people to speak their experiences, not about my teaching, but generally about Vyakarana Shastra or about uh, what you think about Krudanta Prakaranam, what you think about course, what are your plans, and so on. So if you have any particular personal feedback for me, please email me. That's always there. I mean, I'll always reply to your emails, or I'll take your feedback into account. If you have any general feedback about course, any general feedback about subject matter, your own, primarily what I'm interested is what is the transformation that has brought into you over these last 2 years by this course. So please prepare some 4 to 5 minutes. I'm not talking more. I won't even allow you to speak more because we have like limited time. So 5 minutes if you want, and I know at least 2 or 3 people who have explicitly told me that they want to talk. So anybody who wants to talk on the last day, I will open up the microphone for them. Please prepare something so that you can speak. And obviously, hopefully Soumya ji will attend. I've already requested her to attend. Soumya ji, by the way, was attending all our classes till Uttar Krudanta started. So she was there in almost every class. And after Uttar Krudanta, she's attending the classes offline because it conflicts with some of other her commitments. So, but she was there till at least class number 100 or so. And I have requested her to attend the final, last class. Let's see if there is a conflict and she cannot, adjust that timing. We will have to just go ahead without her, but I'll request her. I'll see if she can join the class for the last session. There are so many questions. I can take up a few of them. So somebody is saying I am 77 years old. So great. I don't think from no angle you look like 77, but yeah, please feel free to, in general, what I'm saying is somebody is saying there is a big transformation that has happened due to course. Please feel free to speak whatever you want in the last class. And somebody is asking, is there a weightage to the previous 2 exams? So I don't know, but I don't think so. All that I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over the grades of 3 exams to Vyoma team. Whether they compute it by previous 2 or whether they compute it by just the last exam, I don't know. My understanding, the way they have been dealing with other courses, is that it is only the end exam. So middle exam, they treat it as preparatory exam, so they don't consider their grades, marks towards the final exam. It is purely the final exam. The score of that final exam matters, so for giving the grade or certificate and so on. And obviously nobody of you is actually over here to earn something, or probably I mean, no materialistic benefit from that degree. So what we have learned through the course is probably the most important thing. So there is a question over here: do you think that this course is equivalent to a master's degree or a doctor's degree? It's very hard to tell, because when you go to master's degree, you study lots of things. So nobody studies Krudanta Prakaranam in so much detail in the master's degree. In the master's degree, you can study lots of multiple things. So in that way, this course is definitely not as par with the master's degree, because in typical master's degree in Vyakarana Shastra, for example, you will learn Laghu Shabdendu Shekhara, you will learn Paribhashandu Shekhara, you will learn 100 other things, Vakya Padiyam and so on. But at the same time, you won't go in the Krudanta Prakaram in so many details, so much details. So specifically talking, if you just want to focus on Krudanta Prakaranam, this is definitely much more than what one would typically learn in the master's course. So I get, and this is not an exaggeration, I get so many emails about the course that I am MA in Sanskrit, but I don't understand this part from the Krudanta Prakaranam. Can you explain? And that's already explained. I just point them to one of the videos and I tell them that this is already explained in this video. So specifically talking about the depth of the course, we have covered much more than what a typical master's course will cover. But that does not mean that the course is as great as masters, because masters has a huge syllabus. You study Paribhashendu and Laghu Shabdendu and Vakyapadyam and all that, and we are not doing any of those things. So that gives the answer to this particular question. Man, there are like 10 more comments. Let me go through them. So while reviewing the previous classes, I get totally bogged down by the amount of material that you have taught. I totally agree. When the course started 2 years ago, it was absolutely not in my mind to teach all these things. But there is fun in teaching, and I myself keep on learning these things, or revising these things. So it's always good that we have, and it's now eventually recorded. So no other place in internet, or at least I don't know even these they teach it in the real universities or not, but nowhere you will learn Krudanta Prakaranam in this kind of details. This has been recorded, very high quality recording, and it's available on the internet for free for anybody in the upcoming generations to consume. So that is the big benefit over here. Then there is a question which says, hope the question paper will not be difficult. The question paper, as I mentioned, is not difficult. It is actually easy. You just need to understand how to apply. As I mentioned, 60% of the question paper is the prayoga. I will quote statements from, Abhijnana Shakuntalam, Kumara Sambhavam, Shishupalavadha, Kiratarjuniyam, Raghuvamsham, and so on. So I will be literally quoting lines, shlokas, and passages from these Mahakavyas. You do not need to know about the meaning of those particular fragments. You definitely need to know the Krudanta usages in those particular constructs. Uh, so for example, here's a simple example. For example, the first shloka of Meghadutam, Kashchit Kanta Viraha Guruna Swadhikarat Pramattaha. Now, if I give you this entire line, Kashchit Kanta Viraha Guruna Swadhikarat Pramattaha Shapena Stangamita Mahima Varshabhogyena Bhartuhu. Then on the second line, there is Shape Nastang Gamita Mahima. So I will ask a question, what is the dhatu in Gamita? So Kashchit Kanta Viraha Guruna Swadhikarat Pramattaha Shapenastam Gamita Mahima Varshabhogyena Bhartuhu. So what is Gamita? Now it is definitely not Gama plus Ta. It is Gama plus Nicha plus Ta, because Gama plus Ta will be Gata. Gama plus Nicha plus Ta is Gamita. Now you do not need to know the meaning of the shloka Kashchit Kanta Viraha Guruna for understanding this part. So this is exactly how the questions will be. 60% of the question paper will be purely based on application. It will be purely based on the literature, and then there will be 40% remaining part which will be based on actual sutras. So this answers one question. Then there are a few more. We are in a position. There's somebody who says, I'm so happy by reading this comment. We are in a position to teach some amount of Sanskrit with this course. Oh, you all are in a position. If you have studied this course properly, you are in a position to teach Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi Krudanta Prakaranam. So Krudanta Prakaranam of Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi is nothing in front of this. What we have studied is not just Siddhanta Kaumudi. The ideal title of this course should be Krudanta Prakaranam of Siddhanta Kaumudi and Padamanjari and Nyasa and Kashika and Balamanorama and Mahabhashyam and some places Brihachabdendu Shekhara. So we have studied so much about Krudanta Prakaranam that you definitely are in a position to teach Krudanta Prakaranam of Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi. Think about it. If anybody of you or two or three of you are together interested, genuinely, I can talk to Vyoma team and we'll start a course on. You will teach, not me. Don't put anything on my shoulders right now. But if anybody of you is interested, definitely I'll talk to Vyoma team and we'll find out how we can start a course on Laghu Siddhanta Kaumudi Krudanta Prakaranam. Okay, there are so many comments over there. Now we are like 15-20 minutes out of the course, so I have to stop over here. But I will open up the microphone on the last day, and please feel free to talk. So there are so many people, expressing your opinions over here. I really appreciate, but we have to stop in the interest of time. We will continue this kind of discussion in the last class of the course. Look, I took 20 minutes extra. I could have actually finished the pending material. All that I needed was 20 minutes to cover all these things. Anyway, kidding. So there is a question: how long did you take to learn Vyakaranam? Well, I have been studying since I was in school, but the real push happened when I started Siddhanta Kaumudi under Soumyaji. So I always say this, and I'm like very happy to say this publicly, that you always have the potential inside you, but you need a trigger to get that potential out. And for me, it was classes, the Siddhanta Kaumudi classes by Soumyaji. Those classes I have attended or I have watched them 10-15 times, and I'm not joking, like binge watching. And then I did all my research on the top of it. Building ashtadhyayi.com itself taught me a lot of things, because while even if it is coding, while putting those commentaries and all that, eventually you read them, you understand them, and so on. So it has been a continuous process, starting from my school years, and definitely starting from 2013 or so, when I started attending those Kaumudi classes. So that's how I have learned Vyakaranam. What else? I think there are so many questions, but I think we should stop here. Let's continue this discussion in the last class. One last question I'll take and stop. Please teach us other prakaranas. We'll think about it, but I'm not planning to teach anything, or there is no plan to teach anything immediately after Krudanta Prakaranam. The basic reason is because there are a lot of things pending on the website also. You saw that recently Kosha was added, recently other verb forms were added. Some of the volunteers from our class itself have helped me in these particular thing. There are too many mistakes over there. I wanted to do the Krut Prakriya generator, which I could not do because of other commitment. So I want to focus on the development or website for at least for 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. Then we will see what other course to take. So Samapayamaha, thank you very much for so many questions. We'll continue this discussion in the last class, the 40th class. अष्टाध्यायी जगन्माता यस्य चित्तात् समुत्थिता वेदानाम् उपकाराय तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. शब्द ब्रह्म समाराध्य कृतवान्यो विलक्षणं सर्वाश्चर्यमिदं शास्त्रं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. येन धौता गिरः पुंसां विमलैश्शब्दवारिभिः तमश्चाज्ञानजं भिन्नं तस्मै पाणिनये नमः. धन्यवादः.